when I think of the BC Lions, the first thing that comes to mind, well, there's a couple things that come to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is legendary coach and GM Wally Buono, who has now moved on. There's just a comfort level knowing that Wally was happy in Vancouver, happy running the team, and you knew the team was in capable hands. And I'm not saying the team isn't in capable hands now. I'm just saying he was like a security blanket for CFL fans in that market. Another thing I think of when I think of the BC Lions, longtime Vancouver TSN Bureau Chief Farhan Lalji. He has had a tremendous amount of success as a football coach and now as an analyst. And this is the exciting part. Farhan is going to be doing some play-by-play in the Canadian Football League this year for the first time. And I'll shout out to Mike Riley, who seems like a good guy and just grows a fantastic beard, the quarterback of your BC Lions. And I think of the Calgary Stampeders. Okay, I grew up in northern Alberta, so the Stampeders were our provincial rivals. So I think of the rivalry, I think of the success the Stampeders have had over the years, and right now I think of one specific human being, and that is the quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders, Bo Levi Mitchell, who's a friend of my television program and has a terrific podcast out that I'd like you guys to check out. It's the Bo and Benny Show with Ben Hebert. So you have a champion football player and a champion curler sitting together and interviewing fascinating and amazing people. But I am going to predict right now that when Bo's playing days are over, he's coming to work here at TSN. You can imagine him sitting right next to Matt Dunnigan. Just a couple of good old boys from the southern states, just talking football, three-down football, that is. And I assume now we're going to move on to the Edmonton ELKS. So, again, as I've said before, I was a season ticket holder for the Edmonton football team. I want to say it was the years 1992 and 1993-ish. Had some amazing quarterbacks come through Edmonton in the time that I was growing up near that city. Obviously, starting with Warren Moon and those 5 Grey Cups. That was an amazing thing, wasn't it? So, and you had Dunnigan and Damon Allen and Tracy Hammond, and just the list goes on and on. So many great quarterbacks. But here's the thing that I really think about when I went to those football games. Well, I had great seats, about 10 rows up on the 30-yard line. And there were 2 guys who used to come to the games, and they sat a few rows ahead of me, and they went by the moniker of Frickin' Frack. Hardcore Edmonton football fans. And they'd show up with something called the beer horn. So you know that long horn that you see at every CFL game? It's sort of like, that one. Okay, they had one of those. They would always say, we've got the beer horn. You supply the beer, we have the horn. And then you would lie down, they put the beer horn at the end of your mouth, and then they'd pour the beer in, and you would chug it. Kind of disgusting. I'm not sure about the hygiene or anything. A chant that we used to do at Commonwealth Stadium. So one side would say, go, and the other side would say, ESKS, okay? But I always remember the side that said ESKS had to really pronounce the S, right? So it'd be like, go, ESKS. And it just sounded fascinating to hear like 20,000 people say, ESKS. So I wonder if they're gonna say, go, ELKS. That sounds better. That's easier to say. We move on to Saskatchewan, of course. The Roughriders, what can you say? This is the team that my parents grew up cheering for. My parents both grew up in Saskatchewan. They love the Riders. Much of my family lives in Regina. They go to the games. They're obsessed with the team. Here's something I'm going to point out to everybody. So the entire province loves the Roughriders now. But when I lived in Saskatchewan in 1999, working as a sports anchor in Saskatoon, that loyalty, that love was not there from Saskatoon. They were very much a Regina team. People can disagree with me, but I was there. There wasn't as much love for the Riders in Saskatoon at that time. But I've been to the new Mosaic Stadium on the outside. I haven't been inside yet. Looks absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to get there for a Grey Cup someday. And a shout out to Cody Fajardo. Okay, just one more time, folks. Let's get this out and let's do this right. Cody Fajardo. You love him, right? Saskatchewan. Again, I can't stress this enough. If Cody Fajardo runs for a touchdown or throws for a touchdown this year in the Canadian Football League, who's ever running the PA system at New Mosaic Stadium needs to play the opening bars of ABBA's Fernando. The fans can say, here's ABBA, right? They say, there was something in the air that night. The stars shine bright. Fajardo. Whole crowd says Fajardo, right? That's incredible. How fun would that be? Let's make that happen this year, Saskatchewan. All right, let's move on to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As I've said in previous videos, had a chance to live in the city of Winnipeg, had a chance to be an in-game host for the Blue Bombers on the field at the old Winnipeg Stadium. So they don't play there anymore, right by Polo Park Shopping Center. You guys know where it is, right by Ray and Jerry's Steakhouse. Fantastic stadium. I believe they've leveled it. It's gone. It's done. Now they're in this beautiful new Investors Group field, gorgeous field, and you guys have already sold out the opening night, which is a fantastic thing. And I just want to shout out basically everyone in Winnipeg for supporting the Bombers. I know it was like a kind of a weird situation, right? You don't even know what's going to happen with the league. We have the pandemic, and you guys are up first. It's like up to Winnipeg to show how much love and support there is for the Canadian Football League, because you were the first game, and there was so much pressure on you, and you guys went and sold out the game. Let's move on to the Toronto Argonauts. What can I say about this team? I'll say this. If you are on the fence about the Canadian Football League, and especially if you live in Southern Ontario, and I'm not talking Hamilton, of course, because if you live in the vicinity of Hamilton, you should be cheering for the Tiger Cats. But I encourage you to give Toronto Argonauts football a chance this year for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a reasonably priced night out for the family. And that's no small thing in this day and age. It's a great time. There's plenty of parking. It's a gorgeous stadium right by the lake. And here's the best part. The team's going to be really good this year. Pinball Clements did a great job putting together an awesome team. Charleston Hughes alone. Charleston, you know how sad Regina is about losing Charleston Hughes? They love that guy. You've got him. You've got him, Toronto. So go out and see him. And I will implore one thing. I want to say one thing to the Argos brass. And maybe this is to pinball. Bring back the tailgates. You had the tailgates going the first couple of years, maybe just the first year you moved down to BMO Field. They were a blast. People were having a great time. People paid to get in. That's totally fine. You sell beer, I'll buy it. Let's move on to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, that beautiful new stadium you guys are playing in. What can you say about the Tabbies, man? It's just an awesome fan base, an awesome place to go. I have not been to the new stadium yet. I'm a big fan of ALOUETTES, Hamilton's own legendary Canadian rock band. I'm going to see if my friend Max Kerman and I can get down to a game together, right? And this is the best thing. The Tabbies are hosting, not the Tabbies, but Hamilton's hosting the Grey Cup in December. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Hamilton in December? Not a big deal. If anything, I almost guarantee the temperature is going to be somewhere around 0, if that. Might even be a little warmer. So if you're on the fence about buying Grey Cup tickets, buy them. And as an old friend used to say, you have to go to one Grey Cup once in your life. You got to go to one. You got to get on a plane with some buddies. You got to fly. You got to get a cheap hotel. And you got to just go to all the parties, go to Ryderville, go to what the other parties are called other than Ryderville, and do it. Okay, where are we going? Ottawa? What a fascinating roller coaster ride you guys have had, right? You were the Roughriders, then you were the Renegades, and now you're the Red Blacks. And I think a lot of people might have been a bit skeptical about the final incarnation after so many kicks at the can, and you guys have come through massively. Like the atmosphere around games for the Red Blacks is so exciting and so much fun. And now you got a new quarterback in Matt Nichols, who's going to be fantastic for you. And I just think I'm so proud of you, Ottawa, for supporting this team in this beautiful new stadium the way you have. You did an amazing job with the Grey Cup a couple of years ago. Remember Shania Twain on the snowmobile? So good job on you, Ottawa, continuing to set the bar, because you came in as an expansion team, and everyone who loves the CFL desperately wants Atlantic Canada to have a team. Finally, we move on to the Montreal Alouettes. Now, I haven't had a chance to see a game at McGill Stadium. Really want to get there. just love Kahari Jones, love him as your coach, but most importantly, I really love Vernon Adams Jr., former Oregon Duck, my current favorite CFL player. I know he flirted a little bit with maybe the XFL or something like that. That's not for him. Vernon, you were born to be a CFL star. I remember watching you in college and thinking, if he would only come up here and learn the game and learn the rules, he will absolutely kill it up here. He will do great. But he has come through with fine colors. So Montreal, you've got a great team there. So pack that stadium and continue to enjoy Canadian football, because it's the best. It's the best thing. And we have all these new play-by-play guys joining us this year. Dustin Nielsen, terrific young play-by-play guy. Marshall Ferguson, former McMaster quarterback turned play-by-play guy. He's going to be calling games. And then I mentioned Farhan's going to do some games. And of course, Rod Smith is full-time play-by-play. How great is that? And Rod Black. So you got the Rods. Enjoy the opening weekend, everybody. Have a great time. And keep supporting Canadian football, because our balls are bigger. That was the slogan of the league once, because the ball is physically bigger than an NFL football. So we thought our balls are bigger would be a good slogan. But we didn't stick with it because it seems maybe it's not appropriate anymore.